Imagine walking into a medieval court where nobles smile politely at banquetsies. Behind the embroidery on their gowns hide dangerous secrets of lust, betrayal, and treason. What if I told you that lace wasn't just fashion, it was code, a language of desire stitched in silk? Tonight, we unravel the scandal the history books barely whisper, the secret sex codes of the court. Lace today, think of it as delicate decoration, the trimming on a wedding veil, or the elegance of an antique handkerchief. But in the candlelit courts of medieval Europe, lace was never just fashion, it was a weapon. For nobles and royals, trapped in arranged marriages and suffocating etiquette, lace became a silent voice, a way to express passion, temptation, or rebellion when words could cost you your head. Imagine a duchess gliding past the king's chamber, her sleeve embroidered with tiny patterns. To the untrained eye, it was simple beauty, but to her lover across the hall, that lace whispered, "Tonight, midnight, my chamber." In this video, we'll uncover how lace became the court's most dangerous secret code. From hidden stitches of forbidden kisses, to scandalous affairs that toppled dynasties, to whispers sewn into gowns that carried conspiracies across empires. The medieval court was a theater of masks. Every gesture mattered. Glance could spark a rumor, a dance could suggest alliance, and a misplaced word could end careers or lives. Passion was never absent, but it was suffocated beneath ceremony. Arranged marriages tied noble families together, but rarely hearts. Kings and queens were expected to produce heirs, not love stories. And while official marriages cemented politics, secret affairs lit the fire of human desire. Lovers in the court borrowed everything from flowers, jewelry, music, even chess pieces to send private messages. But lace, intricate, fashionable, and always in plain sight, became the perfect camouflage. Why lace? Because unlike jewels or letters, lace couldn't easily be confiscated. It blended into clothing, it traveled with the body, and it could be customized in 1,000 patterns without drawing suspicion. Think of it as the WhatsApp of the 15th century, discreet, personal, and encrypted. And like every code, it could be cracked with consequences that made the entire court tremble. Lace originated in Europe in the late 15th century, particularly in Italy and Flanders. At first, it was a symbol of wealth, handmade, expensive, and painstakingly crafted. But with wealth came opportunity. Historians uncovered records of nobles commissioning lace with unusual motifs: a heart stitched into a cuff, a rose hidden among spirals, initials woven in impossible to notice loops. They were signals, understood only by those in the know. A red thread sewn through white lace could symbolize passion. A knot placed deliberately in a corner might mean danger. Entire love letters could be hidden in lace cuffs, invisible unless you knew how to read the language of loops and knots. In Florence, whispers circulated about a duchess who wore laced gloves with patterns that spelled her lover's name in cipher. In Spain, lace was no longer just luxury, it became the scandalous script of hidden desire. Let's dive into some of the juiciest stories. In 1522, Isabella d'Este, Duchess of Mantua, already famous for her intelligence and taste, was rumored to have carried on affairs despite her political marriage. Chronicles describe her wearing gowns with lace cuffs embroidered with cryptic motifs, stars, crescents, and roses. At first glance, decorative. Each night, depending on the lace she wore, a different man knew whether he was summoned or dismissed. In the court of Philip II of Spain, lace became tied not only to love, but to espionage. A scandal erupted when a noblewoman was accused of using lace collars to send messages to rebels. The stitches supposedly contained coded letters that, when traced, spelled words in Latin. Discovery meant more than humiliation. It meant treason. At the glittering court of Louis XIV, lace was almost a currency of seduction. The Sun King adored lace and showered his mistresses with it. But some mistresses weren't content to just wear lace. They weaponized it. 8. One noblewoman allegedly wore lace with stitched ivy leaves, a subtle way of declaring her cling to the king. Another stitched daggers among roses, symbolizing rivalry with another mistress. These tiny rebellions, hidden in gowns, fueled jealous rivalries that shaped France's most scandalous love triangles. In Tudor England, Henry VIII's young queen Catherine Howard was famously executed for adultery. Among the evidence presented against her, articles of clothing with embroidered motifs, interpreted as gifts to lovers, while not lace itself. It showed how stitched fabric became incriminating proof of passion. In whispers that circulated after her death, courtiers insisted that some of Catherine's lace cuffs contained discreet patterns that only her lover understood. It wasn't just decoration, it was temptation stitched into fashion. So how exactly did lace codes function? Let's break it down like a spy manual. Motifs carried meaning. Roses stood for love or passion. Ivy symbolized loyalty or longing. Dagger shapes hinted at danger or rivalry. Birds meant freedom, captivity, or secret meeting. Stars conveyed fate or hope. Colors mattered too. A red thread hidden in white lace meant desire. Gold thread stood for wealth or bribery. Placement was crucial. Sleeve cuffs were invitations to meet. Necklines declared affection. Handkerchief lace allowed discreet communication during dances. Veil edges whispered vows or defiance. Some historians speculate nobles developed stitch ciphers, where the number of loops in a design corresponded to letters. One noblewoman's lace collar, for example, allegedly spelled her lover's initials by counting the loops along its edge. Because lace was often gifted, lovers could send coded garments to each other. A lace handkerchief dropped during a banquet wasn't always an accident. It was a signal. In some cases, even maids were trained to read lace on behalf of their mistresses. Essentially, lace became a living, wearable love letter. But like all secret codes, it could be intercepted, and that's when scandals exploded. Wearing coded lace was thrilling but dangerous. If discovered, the consequences were brutal. In Catholic Spain, suspicion of secret lace messages could lead to charges of heresy or treason. In France, a jealous rival could expose your lace as evidence of adultery. And in England, during Henry VIII's paranoia, anything that hinted at infidelity could send you to the scaffold. One infamous tale tells of a lady-in-waiting who wore lace embroidered with intertwined hearts. The queen's spies reported it, claiming it signified an affair with a rival noble. The lady denied it, insisting it was innocent decoration. But she was dismissed from court, her reputation ruined. Lace was as risky as poison. A single stitch could destroy a dynasty. By the late 17th century, the popularity of lace as secret code began to fade. Printing presses spread literacy, and lovers turned to letters, poems, and diaries to express their forbidden desires. Lace, still luxurious, became more commercial and less personal, but the legend of coded lace lingered. In folklore, lace remained tied to seduction and secrecy. Writers of later centuries romanticized it as a medium of hidden messages. Even today, some historians argue VA only scratched the surface because much of lace's code was oral tradition, passed in whispers and never written down. In other words, we may never fully decode the language of lace. Today, we send risky texts and delete them. We use emojis to express love in secret ways. But is that really so different from nobles, who stitched roses and daggers into lace? In fact, fashion continues to carry hidden messages. Punk spikes, rainbow flags, even subtle jewelry choices. Clothing speaks when words can't. Lace was simply the medieval prototype of fashion as code. It was rebellion. It was seduction. It was the softest, most beautiful weapon in the Game of Thrones. Behind every cuff, every veil, and every stitch may have hidden a story of lust, betrayal, or conspiracy. Next time you see lace at a wedding, in a museum, or even in your wardrobe, remember, you might just be looking at history's most dangerous love letter. If this story fascinated you, don't stop here. On my channel, Throne of Scandals, we uncover the forbidden histories that textbooks left out, the kings, queens, and their most scandalous secrets. So hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and watch until the very end, because the next scandal might just outshine this one.